Okay, so we're talking about the reproductive system, and we're going to talk about the fellows first. I'm going to talk about them separately because they're very different. But they do have three things in common, okay, that we're going to talk about for each, the male and the female. So the first is that both males and females make something called gametes. So gametes in a male are the sperm. A sperm is one cell. It is haploid, which means it contains half of the DNA. Basically one copy of each chromosome. Okay? So gametes are what we produce. Males produce sperm, females produce ova. That's what come together. Each one has half the DNA, comes together to form full DNA, two copies of each chromosome. Okay, because all other cells, all other body cells contain two copies of the chromosomes. Okay, so both have gametes. Males are sperm. We both have gonads. So gonads are what produce gametes. So in the male, the gonads are the testes. Testes being two, more than one. Testis meaning one. Okay, so this is the site of sperm production. Okay. Lastly, we both have a copulatory organ. Because we have to have a way to get the sperm to the ova to make babies. So in the man, the copulatory organ is the penis. Okay. So this lateral picture here basically shows the anatomy of the testes and the penis here. So just to orient a little bit, I do want to point out first this thing here is the bladder. Okay, and the colon is here, the rectum, whatever, comes down to here. So this right here starts the urethra, and then over here is the prostate. Okay, and the urethra, of course, goes into and through the penis where it can empty. Okay. All right, well, the penis has anatomy that's specific to its ability to be able to get the sperm to the ova or the egg. Okay, so it has it. Normally it's kind of floppy like, which doesn't work very well for what it needs to do to get the sperm to the egg. So it has to be able to become erect. So its anatomy is structured to do this. Okay, so it contains erectile tissue, and it contains it in three columns, basically. So looking here at this picture, you can see this first area here is the first column, and it looks kind of spongy, okay? And it is called the corpus, which means body, spongiosum. And and the urethra is located within the corpus spongiosum. So it goes around it. Okay, so this tissue is specialized that blood can flow in here, and as it accumulates there, it gets trapped in there. And that's how erection occurs, is that the spongiosum, these columns fill with blood. Okay? The other columns, let's do them in this color. There are two separate columns here. So these columns are kind of, there's two of them, they're kind of next to each other. So if we show like the penis kind of cut in half and looking into it, you have the corpus spongiosum, and then you have these two columns, which are called the corpora cavernosa. So let's put this. So the corpora cavernosa, or corpus cavernosum for one. Okay, so that's these here. And then in the middle here is the urethra. Okay, so those are the spongy tissue that inflate, they're filled with blood, and that creates the erection. Okay, the erection itself comes from the parasympathetic nervous system. So the parasympathetics cause arousal. Okay, the sympathetics are responsible for ejaculation. Ejaculation. Okay. Some other parts here. The top here that you can see is called the glands. So, getting like in blue. Top here is the glands, and it's very sensitive. And around that is some tissue that we call the prepuce. Prepuce, or the foreskin. All right, and that's basically the anatomy of the penis, and then we'll talk about the testis in a bit. But that's the main anatomy there of our copulatory, or the male's copulatory organ. Back here, of course, just this is the testis, right? And it's in this sac called the scrotum. And that's where the sperm is made and comes from. And it, of course, travels through this tube and then down to the penis when it's time. Okay? So let's talk about the ladies and their system.